Karina. There was a couple of things that I forgot to say at the end of yesterday's workshop, and I just wanted to take just a couple of minutes of your time to say them right now. Do you know what it's like to be guided through an initiation? It's something that I have done many times in regards to supporting my own integration with my spirit, my relationship to my own spirit, and my ability to be able to hold a more embodied connection to my own light and to my own spirit. And I'm about to offer a course in July that is a 6-week course. And I just wanted to talk to you quickly a little bit about what it is to go through the types of initiation processes that I'm going to be offering in that course. So as an example, I was working with a client last week, and this client has many different symptoms that are going on physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. And some of those symptoms, the root of them is that person's difficulty with being able to really show up and hold enough of the consciousness of self-belief that they need in their body in order for their soul to be circulating through their body more, and therefore in order for them to have better health outcomes physically, psychologically, mentally, and emotionally, right? And so what we did was an initiation whereby I helped take this person on a journey where we went into this place deep, deep in the inner psyche of the earth, in the internal space of the earth. So just like we inside of us have our own internal space, the earth has her own internal space as well. And we went in there and we met with some elders, and I sat that person down in circle with those elders, and everybody held hands. The elders all held hands with this client of mine's energy pattern in the healing process. And those elders, they actually transferred their embodied knowing of how to be self-belief, how to be self-belief in the very atoms of your material self. They sent that message into this client's body. And so that message was entering that client through their material self, through their energy self, and into their consciousness. And then we traveled back, and that person, that part of that person was reintegrated back into their body. And that was that initiation process. So that instead of me saying, you need to have more self-belief and try and give somebody a prescription on how to embody more self-belief, we actually went to some very wise beings. I was just looking at my dog. She's behind me making funny noises. We went to some very wise beings and connected this person up to a deeper level of support when it comes to embodying self-belief and having a feeling and a knowing of what that feels like in your body. So we're going to do that in this course with Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael. We are going to go on a journey with each of those archangels to support us to connect up with support from other spirits to help us in different ways when it comes to being able to have a more embodied relationship with our light and with what it is that our light wants to offer from that perspective of spirit calling that I spoke about a bit in last night's workshop. So the different ways that we'll do that, just quickly, Archangel Michael is going to help us with realms and realities, helping make sure that we're open to the reality that we need to, and that we're firmly held and grounded in a nice protected way in the reality that we need to in order to be able to be fulfilling our spirit calling. Because when we're not, we can become quite overwhelmed and confused and distracted by irrelevant information and so on and so forth. Archangel Gabriel is going to connect us to some elders to support us with exploring the inner mysteries. So by mysteries, I mean that we all have darkness inside of us that isn't dark as such. It's more that it hasn't been brought into the light. It hasn't been brought into relationship with our own light yet. And that Archangel Raphael connect us up with greater support to be able to be exploring those mysteries internally inside of self in a nice, safely held, contained way. Archangel Raphael, karma, breaking down those limits of karma, transcending those stories of old and 3 particular types of karma. He's going to help connect us up to more support with that. And then finally, Archangel Uriel and his beautiful yellow light is going to take us on a process of initiation to connect up with the blueprint that is for the current blueprint for humanity. The blueprint for humanity is changing with the Ascension process at the moment, and just to keep us current to that. You might not know what a blueprint is, but I teach you about that during the course. So that's it. So one final thing I did want to say is that what I notice clinically is that when people aren't actually, when their human identity of self is really kind of in battle and struggling against that part of them that is spirit and that is light, then there are lots of physical problems, mental problems, emotional problems, and psychological, I shouldn't say problems, but symptoms is what I mean. Symptoms that show up as a result of that. So when you start to connect with your light more and be not dragged around by your spirit calling. Sometimes we feel like we're being dragged around by our spirit calling in a way that it's calling us and encouraging us to be more than what we actually really believe we can be. I remember in my early days of spiritual healing, because I've been a spiritual healer for a very, very long time now, I can remember my guides encouraging me to keep progressing with my training, and I felt like I was in a doorway and that my hands were against the doorway and they were encouraging me to move through this doorway, and I was like, no, I don't want to. I just didn't feel as a human being, as Trina, that I could do anymore, that it was possible for me to do anymore. But under the nurturing support and guidance of my team, I was I moved through that doorway and I was able to significantly continue to improve my skill set and my ability to offer up my light for healing to you guys in this way. All right, so that's all I wanted to say. I missed out on saying that yesterday, so I thought I'd just grab a chance to say that today. All right, bye for now.